when I started doing this series of going back through old classic games that I missed when I was a kid for one reason or another, the third game I ever did after Metal Gear Solid and Croc was the original Streets of Rage. I missed that game, mostly because it was released a few weeks before I was born, and I was only 1 year old when the sequel, and the most popular of the Streets of Rage games, was made. Still, it's on the Sega Genesis collection, so it's easy to play now, and it's finally time to play it. Last time we had 3 characters to choose from, and this time we have 4. I decided to try and get through the whole thing with Max, one of the 2 new characters, and we get into it. Straight away I can see a significant graphical improvement over the first game. Despite it coming out not that long after, this really had refined the pixel art style, and honestly, even in 2026, it still looks good. As someone who does pixel art, I would be very, very happy if what I made looked like this. As for the levels itself, well, unsurprisingly the first level is pretty easy. We head through the streets until we get to a bar. We make a real mess of the bar before fighting a lady with a whip. I remember that enemy from the first game. Then we get outside and the bartender is ready to fight us, as you do. Some of these special attacks are kind of a new thing in this. I mean, the first one had them, but it was just like a rocket shot from a police car, so it's quite different. And a grapple took this boss down. Then we move on to the second level, which appears to be on the Golden Gate Bridge, and I'm beating up some very interesting dressed bikers. Never seen bikers look like this in real life. Then we head through a lorry, beat up some more guys, and outside to a boss, which is this jetpack bastard. I can hit him with normal jump attacks, but I do not like the enemy at all. He couldn't stop me, but I still don't like him. Stage 3 appears to be a theme park with us heading into an arcade before long. It's not long until we end up on a bridge or a pirate ship, and we're fighting ninjas. But don't worry, it does get more normal, and by that I mean we head into a hell dimension and fight a giant demon snake. I thought it was a boss, but no, the Sabertooth knockoff here was. He's also dead. Stage 4 takes us to the Sega Stadium, apparently. We beat up the bums sleeping outside on the benches before heading into the stadium itself, which I have to admit was a pretty cool place to fight. After fighting a pair of whip ladies, we need to beat up Big Ben, who is just a really chunky dude. I thought it was the end, I thought he was the boss, but no, apparently the picture's mound is now a lift and there's a load of martial arts dudes on it. At the bottom is a fight arena where we're fighting some kind of wrestler, the real boss. Honestly though, not hard. It appears that stage 5 starts on some kind of ship. A lot of dudes too. Heading upstairs confirms that we are indeed on a ship, but we also do die here. Now, we have a choice of how to proceed. We could spend a lot of time getting good enough that we can beat the whole thing in one go and see the whole game that way, or we can just use the cheats. We use the cheats! Just like the original game, plug in a second controller, hold down a couple of buttons while entering the options menu, and you can pick 2 more difficulties, including the hardest ones that this cheat menu is really needed. More lives, and most importantly for us, level select. Now we're back on stage 5. Remember the weird old school boxer / Victorian beach attire man? Yeah, he was the final boss. Now on to stage 6, a nice beach. After everything, we need a break. Before long though, we're in either a disused airport or a military base, which is less of a break, where I have to fight a second claw guy. Stage 7 is a factory, or I have bad memories of conveyor belt areas in these games, although this one was much easier. The lift was also a bugger, but we handled it, get to the top and fight hopping robots. As you need to get, or they need to fight you from a distance, but if you get up close they can't do much, so pretty easy to handle. Now we're on to stage 8, the final stage, and we fight a reskinned boss before we head into a lift. Then another. Then another. Then another. This is definitely the final area. Heading up we find Mr. X from the first game. Once the thugs are dead we fight Shiva, his chief henchman, and with him done it's on to Mr. X himself. As before he uses his gun, but most of the time he's not actually shooting at us, so he's not exactly challenging. That's it. Game finished. These games aren't exactly the longest games out there, but they're still fun to complete. We rescued our captive friend and everything is good, and I could have been done with the video now. But no. I'm not going to finish the game with all the players, but let's at least try them, and we'll start with Atherton. He's quite familiar because he's one of the 2 returning playable characters. He's a pretty good all-rounder. I like him. Now we're on to Blaze, another return from the first game. She's faster, but also weaker than the other 2. That being said, she's cool, and I like her special move. The final one is Skate, the son of the missing party member from the first game, who is the guy we rescued. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of Skate. Fast, sure, but weak as hell, and I just didn't enjoy him. It's not a character I can see myself using ever again. And with that, we're done. We finished Streets of Rage 2. My thoughts? The game does feel dated, I will admit, although it is 34 years old, so you would expect that, but also, it's really fun. I enjoyed the first one, just a vast improvement on that, and honestly, I had a great time playing it. Would I recommend it? Oh yeah. It might be old, but it's fun, and fun doesn't change no matter how old the game gets. So that was Streets of Rage 2. And don't worry, we will come back for the third one. Maybe the fourth. It's not really retro, but we'll see. For now, thank you for watching, and for the next video, I will be heading back into the Tomb Raider Remastered Collection. Because there are 6 remastered games, and we only did 1, so I think we should go and do the second one. I'll see you then.